Yeah, it's nice you can just come down here. This is my first time fishing right in Hamilton Bay. Look at how thick it is. Can you believe how wide he is? Look at that. Is he a little football or what? Beautiful carp.
Let's go fishing. People, when you're in the mood, let's go fishing. Well, it's just me and you. Head on down to the fishing hole. Grab your hat, get your pole. Let's go fishing when you're in the mood.
Canadian Sport Fishing is brought to you by Rapala, premium fishing gear crafted from experience. Yamaha Outboards, reliability starts here. Sail, the outdoors superstore. Insect Defend Patch, deep-free protection from biting insects.
You know, the nice thing about carp fishing is that you get to meet a lot of people. This is Jeff Wighton, and he's got, I think, a good-sized carp here. We haven't seen it yet. Let me move the net. The nice thing about fishing on the pier here is that you can actually walk down. Even though a lot of fishermen will net the fish here, we're going to walk this fish down, and we're going to net it down near the boat launch. This is nice that they still have the docking here, even though you can net the fish off the wall. I prefer to do this because I think there's a little bit more control.
Yeah.
I'm glad I brought a big net. Now, I got a feeling that fish is over 20. That's a good-sized carp.
Got a scale?
Oh, yeah. I don't, but you know what?
I do.
That's a beautiful fish. Now, Jeff, what were you using? I know you were using corn, but what scent were you using?
The Tutti Frutti corn.
Okay. We were just talking about that because Roger was putting it on, and it's still on here. We can show the viewers. Actually, I'm going to turn this fish around so you can actually see it. There's the Tutti Frutti corn. So you buy it, it's already like that. Now, is that a floater or is that two kernels
That's
of
two
corn?
kernels. There was 4 kernels on there.
Okay, so he threw one. And I've got my pliers right here. It's funny, the fishing has been off and on. I don't want to catch your leader or anything. So I want to just get onto the... Carp have perfect mouths for hooking them. So there's your rig. And how heavy is that weight that you've got on there?
That is a 3 ounce.
3 ounce to keep it down. I noticed there's quite a current flow every once in a while that moves in and out.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to try to hold this fish up so you can see it. He's a beautiful carp. What a nice specimen. He's got his dorsal stuck there. Come here. Looks like he's lost part of it for some reason up top. Come on. So now he's on the other anal fin there. Good. Isn't that a gorgeous carp? You did well, Jeff.
Thank you.
Come here. Come in beside me here so we can see your smiling face. So this is the first one this morning, right?
Yes.
You've hooked on?
Yes.
Yeah, it's nice you can just come down here. This is my first time fishing right in Hamilton Bay. And it's been so foggy this morning. I'm just going to get him back into the net. And the bite was good a little earlier. There were only 3 fish landed that I saw.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like really hot, but they were all quality fish. So I'm going to be gentle. I know that most people just drop him off the pier and that gets him going. But I'm just going to look at how thick he is.
Yep.
Like a submarine. Carp love to eat carbohydrates, anything that's vegetable matter, even though they're omnivorous. What I'm holding up in my hand is some maize. It's actually cattle corn that was bought dry. It's bought in large quantities, very inexpensive at a feed mill, and it's dry when you get it. So you allow it to soak for about 24 hours, and then you boil it until it's cooked enough that you're happy with it to use for bait. So a lot of people will just use corn kernels like sweet corn that you buy in a can. And these work fine, but some of the most productive baits on the market and the ones we've been using today are made by Carp Zoom, and you can see some of the different jars here. You can see that this is literally corn that's been cooked, and also some other type of, you can see these are fava beans and so on. And what they've done is they've pickled them in different type of compounds. This particular one is in honey. You can see the honeycomb that's there. This one here at the far end is mussels, which is what Ryan's been doing really well on. The center one here is honey again, just larger pieces of corn. And then you have these larger nuggets, but you can see they're all marked clearly. And if you undo the jars, they smell really nice. Now let me explain to you one of the most popular ways to use these corn kernels. This is what's called a hair rig when it comes to carp fishing. And it's very simple. You can see that there's a swivel at one end, then about a 6 to 8 inch piece of leader material, and this is braid up to about 50-pound test, a snelled hook, and because it's late in the year and the water's getting a little colder, we're using smaller hooks. We're downsizing everything. And then the reason they call it a hair rig, there's a piece of line with a loop on it that hangs off the hook. And what we do is take the actual kernels of corn from the jar and place them on this needle. You can see that the needle's got a little loop at the end. So we push 4 or 5 corn kernels on here. Then we open that little loop. It's got like a hook there. We attach it onto the loop at the end of the hair rig, slide the corn onto the hair rig. And then to keep the corn from coming off, you can see that there's a little piece of plastic that's just slid in at the end. It's very simple.
X-Mark, you find fish, catch of the day.
Keegan, it's Tony Brecknott calling from Canadian Sport Fishing. How are you, buddy?
Good, yourself?
Dynamite. Now look, I see your nice big honking bass. So this is what I need you to do. You're going to tell me the fishing part of it, and Caden is going to tell me about the app part of it, okay?
Okay, my brother and I were up at my mother's friend's cottage in Fergus. We kind of went out with a pond with a couple of our friends, and all of a sudden I was using a fish lure and I got a bite. We reeled it in. It was fighting really good. We had no clue what it was. We got it in. My little brother helped me out. We were really experienced. We were really excited when we got it in. We took some pictures and sent it in.
Dynamite. Throw Caden on the line for me.
Okay. Hi.
Caden, now you took a picture of your brother holding up a great big fish and you decided to put it into our app. Is that right? Our You Find Fish app?
Because I saw it on a commercial and I thought it was pretty cool. And then we went up in Fergus and I helped my brother reel it in. And we took a few pictures and then we let it go. It was very fun because it was a very big fish that I saw.
Nice. All right, buddy, that's it.
Yeah, this is much nicer to land the fish here because we can actually
a lot closer
handle
to the water.
it. Yeah.
Don't want to reel it
That's a good
too
sized
close.
fish.
They are chunky here, eh?
Yeah. Well, that's why we picked this spot. I mean, you can get carp almost anywhere, but to get fish, you know, in the high teens or even up to the mid 30s, this is probably the most reliable place.
And
Looks like you hooked them perfectly.
Beautiful.
Just gonna keep them in the water for a second. You know what, Ryan? How heavy do you think he is? Here, I'm gonna let you hold the net.
how does it feel?
Try it. One arm. Oh,
There's
that heavy?
There's definitely some weight there.
Think he's over 20? Okay, I'm just gonna put the net down. This is kind of nice because we've got a soft dock here. Look how thick this guy is.
That
I'm gonna
fish
try
is
to
wide.
turn him. We're gonna get the hook out of him first. Isn't that a nice sight? I don't know if he's gonna flop out of my hands.
That is wide,
Isn't that
eh?
a gorgeous?
Oh,
Gorgeous carp. You know what?
it's beautiful.
He's got to be in the high teens if he isn't 20. Good fish. Well done. Good fight, eh? Even with
Thank
the cold
you.
water.
Yeah, it was a good, it was a really hard hit too.
You know, a lot of people don't consider these as game fish, but I'm glad that they're starting to catch on from Europeans because in Europe, I mean, these are prized like a salmon
That's
or
right.
trout would be here,
That's
you
right.
know. Okay, let's get him back, Ryan.
Beautiful.
Good thing we got a big net, eh?
Yeah.
I hope we get one we can hardly fit in the net. Oh, there must be another ship coming in. Look at the water reversing here. You can see how strong it is. Yeah. You know, they've got so much energy. They're very hardy fish. Look, can you believe how wide he is?
That is
Brian,
girthy. That is
look
girthy. He
look
has a
at-
double chin and
He's
everything.
like a
eh?
whale. I'm trying to keep him so that we see him. Watch before he disappears. Look at. Is that like a sub?
Beautiful sight.
That's actually exactly how they go along the bottom when they found their baits. you know, when it comes to carp fishing, you can accidentally catch a carp while fishing for other species as well. And you can also target carp using a variety of fishing gear, the same gear that you use for fishing for walleye, for bass, and so on. But if you're a dedicated carp fisherman, there's certain gear that you have to have. For example, if you look here behind me, you can see there are some long rods set up. They kind of look like steelhead rods, and they're all on these special rod holders that are called tripods. So the one that I've got here, you can see, can extend back and forth, so you can lengthen or shorten it depending on the length of rod that you're using. The back is a standard rod holder, but at the front, where my rod is in, it's actually a strike indicator. So you'll see if I just touch the line, you can hear the alarm go off. So if a fish just touches my bait, I can hear it. So you can set the sensitivity and the audio so it can be louder or softer. And if I want to use this also, I can clip the line onto here. You can see the snap that's right here, and that'll take the line down so that I've got an additional maybe foot of line that a fish can take before he engages the drag. Now what I've done here, because I don't have a bait runner reel, I've actually let off on the drag. You can see how sensitive that is. I just touched the line, but I've let off on the drag. So if a good sized carp does pick up my bait, my alarm goes, it starts running, it's going to be able to take line off. And as I pick the rod up and I put the rod forward, I'm actually going to tighten the drag and set the hook. So some of the other fishermen that are here that fish for carp quite a bit have the bait runner feature where the fish can take drag, but as soon as they turn the handle, one rotation or two, the normal drag engages. Now, I got to show you what Roger has here, which is kind of neat. Now, Roger, you were telling me earlier that you have a remote alarm system.
Yes, I do.
So you got to explain it to us. I think it's really neat. So this is part of it?
This is the receiver, and when it's switched on,
yep,
it identifies with the alarm.
Can I touch the line?
Absolutely.
I'm going to pretend I'm a fish. So
just give it a little tweak.
Yeah, I'm just going to touch it. Now, why would you want a remote one like that?
Well, I like it because if I'm stalking or spotting fish, looking for fish, I can move quite a distance, probably a couple of 100 feet
away
or more,
from your fishing
away
rod.
from this. Then if that goes, I can run back to the rod.
Closed captioning is brought to you by Naden Boats, Canada's finest aluminum boats.
You know, I'm looking at this Rapala fillet glove, and they haven't changed for over 30 years. I remember almost 30 years ago getting one of these for the first time, not so much for filleting fish, but for actually grabbing fish and holding on to them. And I still use them today along with thousands of other people. The key thing about this fillet glove is that it's made out of Kevlar and stainless steel, and the material is actually woven together. So if I pull it apart a little bit, you can see that there are gaps in the material. You can actually see my finger through there when I stretch it. It's almost like the chain links, you know, in the old armor suits that people used to wear. So it's ideal because it's flexible, even though it's made out of metal inside. And it protects your hands if you are filleting fish, especially if you're cleaning a lot of fish. But it's also great for grabbing fish and holding on to them. Because it's got this mesh material, the slime actually goes through the openings so that the mesh contacts the fish. And I've landed very large fish like saltwater fish over 100 pounds, lake trout over 40 pounds, big pike and muskie in the 30-40 pound range. And this enables me to get a good grip on the caudal peduncle, that base of the tail where it meets the body, and hold on to them. And also when we're filleting fish, especially for shore lunches, it's really smart to wear one of these in the hand that you're holding the fish, so if you do slip, you won't cut yourself. You know, I'm amazed that more people don't fish for carp.
I know.
I think it's just such a great sport.
Yeah.
I see that bait hanging just out of his mouth. A little closer, a little closer. Ah, you know what?
Job.
That's a good sized fish. Just gonna get him up gently. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
These are Great Lakes carp. So you can get carp in smaller rivers and canals, and you know, even in some of our Kawartha lakes, but you won't get consistently big fish like this. Like, look at the size of this thing. And he's got that hair rig just on the side of the mouth. Look at, I'm gonna try lifting his head up. You beautiful thing, you. So you can see that it's worked perfectly. But I'm just gonna hold him up. How heavy do you figure he is? Because I know you get a lot of carp.
I'd say 23 to 24.
I like it when you can...
It's a nice fat fish, yeah, probably
Look,
24.
I've got a rain suit on, so I don't mind getting all slimy.
It's just starting to show the fall colours. It's more orange.
Yep.
Getting gradually more orange. Some of the fish are a lot more orange than that.
Yep.
But yeah, that's a gorgeous fish. I'm really happy with that.
I love the little barbels that they use for tasting.
Yeah.
You can see he's got 2 sets of them. A little guy right here, bigger one here. He's even got it there on his nose. So they really sense those baits. It's very important. Yeah. What a gorgeous animal. You know, to truly appreciate it, Roger, I'm going to turn him on his back so the viewers can see. Look at how wide he is.
It is a wide fish.
They get heavy like that, they start to actually get wider,
they
not
definitely
necessarily longer.
Yeah. No.
Okay, I'm going to slide him into the water, and I don't think he'll need much to revive because that water is so cold.
Yeah.
We're just going to let him sit there for a second. Do you have a mat? Because I know a lot of carp fishermen will actually land the fish and have a wet mat.
I do.
You know, to be gentle with him. So there, he's upright. I'm going to gently slide the net out. But you know what? He's in great shape.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, these fish are big.
Nice fish.
They're tough. He gave you a good fight.
Oh,
Look
yeah. Very strong.
What a gorgeous creature. You know, sometimes we can do a lot of little things that actually help us practice conservation. This little instrument that I have in my hand is a tire pressure gauge. And believe it or not, it's very important for safety and also for conservation. For example, today I'm trailering my boat, and if I've got the right amount of tire pressure in my trailer, my vehicle is actually going to handle better. And this also goes for your car if you're not trailering a boat. The second reason is, if you have the right amount of tire pressure, you're going to have maximum fuel efficiency, and that's good for the environment. Now, if you carp fish or you've read magazines on carp fishing, especially in Europe, you'll recognize what this little ball is. It's actually called a boilie. And what it is, it's literally a dough mixture of the right ingredients of flour and some other additives that's been rolled into a ball, and then it's been boiled. That's why it's called a boilie. And they work really well for carp fishing. This particular one, and all the series that's in front of me, is made by Carp Zoom. So they make a lot of really good baits when it comes to carp fishing. Now, the way you rig these up is not just put a hook through them, but you use a device, which is right here. It's called a little screw needle. And you put it inside and very gently turn it. And you literally drill a hole right through the middle of the boilie. Once you get through it, you can see the tip right there. You just work it back and through a couple of times, like that, and we've got a nice hole. Now that hole will enable the needle to go through. So we take the needle and we put it through the boilie, just like so. And then to attach it onto the line, you take something that's called a boilie stopper. That's what I'm holding up right here. And you can see that there's small sections of flexible plastic that has a little eye at one end and a stopper at the other. So what you do is take your boilie with your needle, and you take one of those little stoppers, and you can see that it's got a little eye. You put the stopper onto the needle, take the boilie, and slide it onto the stopper. Okay, so I'm going to pull it through. So it comes right through. And I'm going to take the end, the little stopper end, and it's going to stop the boilie. I'm pulling it through. It's like a stretchy material. So that boilie can't come off. Now I'm ready to take my hook and actually place the hook through that little eye. So it'd be sitting on my hook below the actual hook, like that, almost like the hair rig. And I would fire that out and let it sit on the bottom. Now, as you can see here, this is the honey sweet corn one that I'm going to put back. Some of the boilies suspend. This is strawberry, so it actually floats. Okay, so you can see here that there's a variety in different jars, all different flavors. So depending how active the carp are, how deep a water you're fishing in, and how big the carp are that you're going for, that'll determine which one of these you're using. But if you want to get into some serious carp fishing, Carp Zoom really has all of the gear that you need. Beautiful
yeah,
carp.
that's another.
Gorgeous carp.
It looks similar to the last one, but it's definitely not the same
No,
fish.
no, it's a different fish. You're doing great, Roger. If you get him a little bit closer. What a nice sight. Submarine carp on the surface. Perfect. He didn't even know what happened there. He's going to swing him around to the side.
That
Look
might
at
be
these.
just a little bit heavier than
All
the last one.
good-sized carp.
It's definitely in that 24.
You know what?
About the
Good thing we
same.
got a big net. Good-sized fish. Just going to take my gloves off. We should be able to see that hair rig in his mouth again if he didn't throw it. Here, I'll just show it to you. Hooked perfectly. That's one, advantage to using this system, because they get the corn first, and you can see that Roger, like Ryan and I, is using a little floater. That's where that little piece of yellow material is. Then he's lost a couple of kernels, but he'll have anywhere from 3 to 4 pieces of corn. So here's the rig that he's using. He has the flat weight, and the reason for the flat weight is because because we're fishing the harbor mouth, there's current coming in from Lake Ontario and also going out from the bay. So if you have a round sinker, and we were using egg sinkers earlier, they tend to roll along the bottom. The other thing, notice that everything he's using is coated. So even the lead that usually is like a silver color, you can see all the connections, everything is coated. And everything is soft, so it's quiet, it lays on the bottom. But the lead is very short. It's only about an 8-inch or 9-inch lead from the actual swivel to the hair rig. And that's really been producing. Roger, nice fish.
Thank you.
Gorgeous colors. See if I can grab them carefully. They're almost featureless, when you try to hold these things. You can see it's a beautiful fish. Roger, you did good. If you want to get the hook out, Roger, we're going to be releasing it. Look at that. Nice sunshine. Beautiful yellow gold sides. Come on. Give us a nice look. Swim away nice and slow. Man, look at that. What a behemoth.
Beautiful.
They are big fish. They're beautiful.
Canadian Sport Fishing is brought to you by Suffix, the world's most hardcore fishing line. Yamaha Outboards. Reliability starts here. Sail, the outdoors superstore. Insect Defend Patch, deep-free protection from biting insects.
Come on. Atta boy. You're all right, Freddie. It's okay. It's all right. Atta boy, Freddie. My good deed for the day, Freddie the Goose.